and welcome to the Breakfast News this morning. I am David Obokwasile. The headlines. Governor Obiano says his government will sustain donations to mission schools. Anambra team, which represented Nigeria and Africa at the World Technovation Challenge in the USA, wins gold medal. Federal government plans to inject 300 billion naira into the nation's vehicle assembly plants. An India MP disguises self as Adolf Hitler to protest against broken promise. The news in detail. The state government has presented a check for 211,168,125 million naira to the Catholic Mission in the state for the reconstruction of schools handed over to them. Governor Willie Obiano made the presentation at Chanahan Hall, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity, Onitsha. Government House correspondent Kenneth Kwofoma has the details.
For the 433 schools that were handed over to the Catholic Mission by the state government and under the phase, the schools have a maximum of 6 weeks to execute the chosen projects. Presenting the check, Governor Obiano, who described basic education as very fundamental for the complete formation of the child, explained that the money was given according to the number of schools handed over to the Catholic Mission. He commended them for the judicious utilization of funds released initially by his government and urged the church under the present phase to focus on schools in the rural areas. The governor promised that his government will sustain the donation to the mission schools throughout its duration, even as government continues the upgrade of government and community schools across the state.
Money we are giving this time, we will be happy if we can pay more attention to the schools in the hard-to-reach area. Yes, particularly the boarding school must have proper fencing and of course with a gate.
The Commissioner for Basic Education, Professor Kate Omenoga, who observed that the donation is consistent with the vision of the present administration to meet the learning needs of all in the Anambra, said the partnership with the church is working and will help the state achieve moral and value-driven education.
Credibility in education, value-based education. Therefore, our spirited fight against examination malpractice has been very thorough with the support of the mission.
In his remarks, the chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, ASUBEB, Chief Nzemeka Olisa, said an action plan has been drawn for the execution of projects in the various schools under the phase to ensure effective implementation and monitoring. Receiving the checks on behalf of the Catholic Mission, the Archbishop and Metropolitan Onitsha Catholic Archdiocese, Most Reverend Valerian Okeke, said by sustaining the release of funds to the church, Governor Obiano is sustaining the tradition of excellence and posterity as the children will grow to remember the inputs he made for them to excel.
It's important to love something and then promote it. When you're a good student and a good teacher, it means you are handing on the tradition of excellence. The governor is handing on the tradition of love of wisdom, love of knowledge, education of the youth.
In a vote of thanks, the Catholic Bishop of Nnewi Diocese, Most Reverend Hilary Odile Okeke, thanked the governor on behalf of the Catholic community for the gesture and promised that the funds will be judiciously utilized. Symbolic presentation of the check to the mission by Governor Obiano formed the highlight of the event.
The wife of the state governor, Chief Mrs. Ebeletku Obiano, has said she will set up old people's homes across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Chief Mrs. Obiano, who said the foundation works for the homes will soon commence, noted that she remained keen to all round of touching interventions. Correspondent Daniel Eziwe has the details.
Wife of the state governor said the 350 batches of graduates from the 6-month skills and entrepreneurial training of the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative CAFE will soon be equipped with startup equipment and funds next month, bringing the total number of trainees under the PET program to 4,000.
Before I get you before governor get you hand over to every Anambra be self-reliant. What is that here?
In an opening remark, the chairman of Onitsha North Council area, Chief Patrick Anambra, said the present regime's milestones in community development, youth empowerment, agricultural transformation, and education were proof of good governance on the well-being of the people. The governor's wife presented bags of rice, school bags, exercise books, mosquito nets, and cash to the poor, widows, and physically impaired, while individuals and groups presented her with gifts and souvenirs. At Onitsha South Council area, the story was not different, as Chief Mrs. Obiano noted that the present administration will never compromise on the interest and betterment of Anambra, restating her unwavering commitment towards ensuring that the needy are fully integrated into the economic mainstream of the society. The governor's wife noted that the Willie Obiano-led government is bent on building a lifetime legacy in every sector of the state.
We also empower you to begin to be self-sufficient.
Welcoming the governor's wife, the chairman of Onitsha South Council area, Prince Jerry Aswanya, who recounted the ugly security experiences that ravaged Onitsha in the past, said the advent of the present government gave the city a breath of tranquility and peace. Other top government officials who were present were the member representing Orumba South constituency at the State House of Assembly, Princess Nikki Ugochukwu, Honorable Charles Enwezo, member representing Onitsha North 1 constituency, Honorable Beverly Nkem Ibazo, representing Onitsha South 2 constituency, Honorable Patrick Aniono, representing Onitsha South 1 constituency, Princess Sally Mbanefo, Commissioner for Tourism and Culture, Professor Kate Omenua, Commissioner for Basic Education, amongst others. High point of the tour was the distribution of cash, food, household and learning materials to the less privileged, widows and the physically challenged. From Fege, Onitsha South Council Headquarters, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
The 5 girls from Regina Pacis Secondary School, Onitsha, who represented Nigeria and Africa at the World Technovation Challenge in the Silicon Valley in San Francisco, USA, have won gold medal in the contest. The team, led by Uchenna Onwamuebu Ugu, defeated representatives of other technological giants, including the USA, Spain, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and China, to claim the gold medal. We have details.
The team, made up of 5 brilliant girls, including Promise Nnalu, Jessica Osita, Nwabo Akwosai, Adaeze Onuigbo, and Vivian Okoye, have now become Africa's Golden Girls. The world champions, who are reported to be attracting a lot of attention in the world's greatest technological hub, won the challenge with a mobile application called the FD Detector, which they developed to help tackle the challenge of fake pharmaceutical products in Nigeria. Under the tutelage of Uchenna Onwamuebu Ugu, the CEO of Edufon Technic STEM, the Golden Girls spent 5 months researching and developing FD Detector, which swept through over 2,000 competing applications to get to the finals in San Francisco. Technovation is a program that offers girls around the world the opportunity to learn the programming skills they need to emerge as tech entrepreneurs and leaders. Every year, girls are invited to identify a problem in their communities and then challenge them to solve them by developing Android applications that would address those problems. 115 countries participated in the qualifiers, but only 12 teams from all over the world were selected as finalists for the pitch in Silicon Valley. The girls will also be attending field trips, life-changing workshops, including a networking section during their 1-week stay in USA. The governor of Anambra State, Chief Willie Obiano, had personally sent them off to the US in a brief ceremony at the last Executive Council meeting, where he charged the girls to put Nigeria and Africa on the global technological map with their rare talent.
A 40-year-old woman, Mrs. Ifeoma Nwaka, has been delivered of a set of quintuplets 4 years after waiting on the Lord for another fruit of the womb. Mrs. Nwaka, an indigene of Enugu, but married to Mr. Obonnaya Nwaka from Abia State, delivered the 5 babies around 1 p.m. on Wednesday. She delivered through cesarean section at Life International Hospital, Oka, a new health facility, a product of Akulono, clarion call by Governor Willie Obiano. Presently, Mrs. Nwaka is having challenges in feeding the babies and will be required to offset her hospital bills at the end of her stay in the hospital. The mother of 6 is a petty trader with her husband at Owerri, where they based until she was admitted into the hospital some weeks ago, as the multiple conception was detected at early stage. She therefore appeals to the state government, good-spirited individuals, and the affluent in the society to come to our aid by depositing money into their account Obonnayande Fomonwaka 2086662062 Zenith Bank. We move on now. Anambra State chapter of the TUE Capital Investment Nigeria Limited has been inaugurated. The inauguration, which took place in Oka, attracted members from across Nigeria. Queen and Iwog filed the report.
Capital Investment is a foremost international organization which functions as collateral providers and lending arrangers, linking 50 world international and local commercial banks. Its non-banking financial services are available and accessible through its global partners on terms and conditions. Introducing the 2E Capital Berhad World Group, a key member of the group, Prince Emmanuel Isian, said the organization with headquarters in Malaysia is aiming to rebuild the Asian region, re-economize the European region, and restructure the African continent region, adding that they strive towards providing solutions to problems.
As long as we are sure of the payback. Yes. Okay.
In his remark, the African Regional Chairman, Dr. Joshua Bassi, said any project that would help improve the economic climate of Nigeria towards reducing the nagging unemployment rate will be considered, adding that individuals can form cooperatives in order to access the funding of the group. Dr. Bassi said educational and infrastructural development as well as industrial and agricultural projects, among others, will be considered when brought to the company for funding. Earlier in an opening remark, the chairman on the occasion, Chief Kenechukwu Aneto, stressed the need for the funding to be grassroots-oriented and advised the organization to establish a think tank that will fashion out how the project will succeed in Anambra State. The Anambra State Director of the organization, Chief Timothy Mado, on behalf of the state coordinating team, promised that they will do everything possible to ensure that the organization succeeds in the state.
Market women, we have them in mind, but we are looking at them coming up as cooperatives so that we can educate them how they can float, how they can float industries, float the kind of thing, but they have to come as a group like cooperatives so that they can be able to be accommodated.
I see you all are welcome to Anambra State, and more especially Anambrarians that has come from different places, all supplied to come and witness this great occasion. I want to appreciate you people. I want to thank you people for your endurance.
In a goodwill message, the Southeast Director of 2E Capital Investment, Barrister Paul Nnamani, while affirming that knowledge is power, assured that they will work hard to ensure that the vision and mission of the organization is achieved in Nigeria.
A better Nigeria and a better world for all of us. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Citation and the inauguration of the group form the high points of the event.
The federal government plans to inject 300 billion naira into the nation's vehicle assembly plans as part of measures to accelerate the development of the automotive industry. Already, contributions into a support fund initiated to facilitate the vehicle production finance scheme has risen to 11 billion naira. Director General, National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC, Jelani Aliyu, who made the disclosure at a forum in Lagos, said the funds will support assembly operations at the completely knocked down level and encourage local content development. He said presently the auto industry activities were largely characterized by the semi-knocked down operations with limited employment generated, adding that the federal government was worried at the slow pace of development in the auto industry. In the auto industry subsector of the economy, even though government had given 35 automobile firms bona fide manufacturing status and many of them have started operation easily. This is coming about 5 years after the federal government commenced the implementation of the Nigerian Automotive Industry Plan meant to encourage local production and purchase of new vehicles. Aliyu further said the Auto Support Fund was an indication of government's resolve to provide the necessary encouragement for the development of the auto sector. In its bid to achieve sustainability among beneficiaries, the State Coordination Office of IFAD Value Chain Development Program, VCDP, has embarked on intensive capacity building for its farmers under Omo cluster. The workshop tagged upselling of gender action learning system GALS methodology in Orumba North Council area is a community-led empowerment methodology that uses visual tools for planning. Agri-correspondent Ebeleze, who covered the training at Omo Town Hall, Orumba North Council area, now reports.
The training, which will expose participants to soulmate vision journey, gender balance stream and multi-lane highway, will last for 4 days. Declaring the training open, the State Project Coordinator IFAD VCDP, Mr. Anambra, said that the training is aimed at nurturing them to acquire knowledge on how to plan towards achieving their vision and mission as farmers. Mr. Aguncha, represented by the Rural Institution Youth Gender Mainstreaming Officer, Mr. Ikechukwu Anyasi, advised them to cut down unnecessary and expensive spending to save more for the rainy day, while stating that they will also be educated on the need and importance of gender equality. Mr. Aguncha charged them to step down the knowledge garnered.
What we want to achieve is planning. It is a community-led empowerment methodology. It uses visual diagramming for life planning. We want them to know how to plan. They have vision, but to get to their vision is their problem. And we have seen some of the things that are making them not to get to their vision.
In a lecture titled Vision Journey, a resource person, Mr. Chukwujeku Obianefo, said the concept of the training is to educate participants on how to plan, set a vision within a target, and achieve it with little resources available. Mr. Obianefo charged them to communicate their visions to their household for them to assist in driving it.
We are here to upskill GALS methodology to Omoho in Orumba North local government. Yes, in this workshop, it's a 4-day workshop, and we have 3 subtopics we'll be treating. We have treated soulmate vision. Today is a vision journey. Then tomorrow will be gender balance tree. Then the last day, the multi-lane highway. The whole concept of this training is to bring out, to help our participants, the visiting participants, we want to teach them how to plan, how to set a vision within a target, and how to achieve their vision within the little resources they have. And in most cases, the men in rural communities and even all over the world bring out their vision without carrying their wife or without carrying their children along. So this training is aimed at bringing out understanding so that the men will see the women as equal in the house and also see their children as important in the house.
Presenting their various group vision journey, the participants identified smoking, excessive drinking, non-progressive friends, womanizing and fashion as major factors militating against their savings. Speaking in an interview, some of the participants, Mr. Emmanuel Nwene, a rice farmer from Ndikeleon, and Miss Amaka Orefo, cassava farmer from Obu, in their different speeches described the training as an eye-opener and promised to step down the knowledge garnered.
Nwaanyị ga na-asị na ya ego nwaanyị ewenata obu mụ nwana nwa makwana ihe ga-eme ka ọ bụrụ na ihe anyị na-achụga nwere isi.
From Omoho in Orumba North local government area, I am Ebele Eze reporting for ABS News.
An Indian member of parliament attended parliament dressed as Adolf Hitler to protest against what he called a broken promise by the Prime Minister. This is not the first time Naramali Sivaprasad, 67, has used costumes to register dissent. His costume choices in the past include mythological character, a Hindu god, a spiritual guru, and a woman. Mr. Sivaprasad, a former actor, is an MP from the southern state of Andhra Pradesh who belongs to the state's ruling Teluk Dasam party. His controversial choice of costume on this occasion, which according to him will grab attention quickly and make people think, has caused some shock. Mr. Siva Prasad, who said he was protesting against the federal government's refusal to grant special category to Andhra Pradesh, noted that the status will ensure more funds for development. All Mr. Siva Prasad costumes have been inspired by what he sees as unfair treatment of his state by the federal government. When asked by why he chose to dress as Hitler, Mr. Siva Prasad said he has a reason for everything he does, explained that Hitler never sought anyone's counsel and did not work for the welfare of the people. Remember that you can listen to news and programs on ABS 88.5 FM from any part of the world by logging on to our website www.absradiotv.com. Like us at Facebook, www.facebook.com/absradiotv.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at absradiotv. And that is the news. Before we go, the headlines again. Governor Obiano says his government will sustain donations to mission schools. Governor Obiano stated this while presenting a check for over 211 million naira to the Catholic Mission. Anambra team, who represented Nigeria and Africa at the World Technovision Challenge in the USA, wins gold medal. They won the challenge with a mobile application called the FD Dictator. Federal government plans to inject 300 billion naira into the nation's vehicle assembly plants, says it is part of measures to accelerate the development of the automotive industry. An Indian member of parliament disguised himself as Adolf Hitler to protest against broken promise. And that is the news at this point. I'm David Okwasile. The weekend show is still standing. Stay back.